What's up, everyone? Welcome back to A Line in the Stars. I'm Jordan, and we are back today with episode 4 of the Havoc Marauder from Star Wars The Bad Batch. Oh man, it has been a couple weeks since I sat down with this model, and I'm really excited to get started. One of the things I was kind of looking at here is, as I'm making the plan for the paint, I've been staring at the model for probably the last 20 minutes or so. And the realization has set in that I painted the model too dark. This was the very first model that I painted with my airbrush. This is the very first thing I had ever done with an airbrush. The coat went on really well. I'm proud of the layering. It looked really good. There's no real high or low spots in the paint that I can identify right now. I hold it up to the light, can't see through it. Looks really good. So, I'm pretty proud of that work. But I thought that I should paint it dark, as the model itself was dark, and I was using cheap paint in the beginning and wound up having to buy buying the Vallejo Phantom Gray from Mecha Color. It's 69, nice, 0.040. It's great color, went on really nice. It's a really high quality color, but it's just too dark. So the thing that, it was just kind of like, oh man, so as I was making the plan for how we're going to paint and everything, and I'll give you the description here in a quick second, as I was laying out the plan, I realized I just painted the model too dark. It is gray, but it's definitely on the darker side. I went and watched an episode of Bad Batch last night, just as for fun, and it definitely is a little bit of a lighter color. The Marauder is definitely a lighter color, and so, in the end, it's just this class of shuttle is what we're gonna call it. I don't know. Once again, the learning curve from when I painted this about a month ago until now. I've learned quite a bit. I've painted quite a few models. Some stuff you guys haven't even seen yet, and when I was doing this, I was using very crappy quality thinners and flow improvers. I've purchased much better chemicals to get my airbrush moving properly. I still struggle. I'm not quite sure if I need to upgrade the airbrush. It seems like a pretty good one. If I need to get a better, I just don't know. I'll talk about my struggles with painting in an independent episode later on. But with this one, what I've chosen to do in the scope of things, I'm going to go ahead and juxtapose the colors. So where it's calling for dark on the model itself, instead of trying to wash out the decal work, which is all primarily red stripes and dark black, basically pieces that cover up these panels right here. They're black, and so in order to not wash those out, I'm not going to paint the model darker. I'm going to go ahead and go with just a gray, and we'll see how it turns out. Once again, this whole process, the whole model building thing, everything that I've been doing here has all been a process of learning how to build models. And since I've started this one, I've done a few other things and I'm doing a few other things, and it's interesting coming back to it after a couple weeks, and I've painted so much and I've done so much since then. I'm really looking forward to bringing this one into the finish line with everything that I've learned since the last time I sat down and did this model. I think it was about a week or so before Christmas. So yeah, and I'm recording this the day before release, and so this is just right after New Year's. And so yeah, it's been a little bit, almost a month since I've done any work on this model. And so that's just kind of how you guys will see it. I do a bunch of work on a model, I record it, and then I save the stuff, and then I just, as I get off work, I will edit videos and get them uploaded and ready to release and all of that jazz. And so a little background, I don't do these models in small little pieces. I try to do them in little chunks, because otherwise it just kind of gets a little tedious and I'm not able to get the work done. In this case, I chose to come back to this model a little while later. I wanted to let my skills improve a little bit. I've picked up better glue with the recommendation of some of our viewers, and I'm ready to go ahead and like push forward on getting to the next set of skills and for the next model, which I'm pretty excited about. So for this episode, we're going to be doing just some detail painting work. We're going to be working on painting all of the stuff on our sprues to start, and then we're going to go ahead and go over to our body. There's not a whole lot of paint on the body that we're going to be doing. We're just going to be doing a little bit of highlight work here and there, adding some grays, adding some yellows. I need to go pick up a khaki color. I need it for another model anyway, so we'll be applying that in the next episode. Yes, and then the next episode we're going to be looking at doing our putty work, applying the final base coat color to the rest of the model and assembly. And then we're coming up. We're probably going to hit 6 episodes for this series. So episode 6 will be the final, basically touches, putting the decals on. And then my favorite, the beauty shots. I've been doing some weird things, and so you'll see in a video coming up here soon with another model series. I got creative with it, and I don't know how it turned out, and I'm looking forward to hearing what you guys have to say. So, the plan for all of our paint colors today. This is going to be Omega's turret. It's also just the rear turret on the ship. I'm going to leave this the base color, the base here. And then for all of our gun tubes, we're going to do our gun tubes in gray with a silver point. This is kind of like a flap that goes above the engine. There's a matching piece molded into the body. I'm going to do most of that gray with the outside pieces here. And I'll match that on the body as well as a silver to kind of give the effect of the engines, basically... how do you put it? With the engines basically, like causing the metal to change color over time. I'm not quite sure what that's called, actually. We're going to be doing the guns here. These are the 2 forward guns. We're going to do the tubes in gray, or the barrels in gray, and then we're going to do the points in silver. All of this is our landing gear. We're going to keep all of the feet are going to be done in the base color of the model. These are the pads that the struts fit into. We're going to be doing those in the matching lighter gray that we'll be doing with the rest of the model. For all of the struts, all 5 of them, we're going to be doing the struts themselves in black, and then I'm going to be doing silver on the ends. And then for here, this is going to be Omega's bedroom, basically. Or the rear turret, and basically I'm just going to be putting some base coat color on here just to clean that up. Any parts that have been already separated from the sprues will get their base coat color. And then after we've done that, we're going to come over here to the body, and I'm just going to be picking some highlighted panels. I am going to be looking at the model box itself and basically just finding some panels and going to try to match up with it. I'm not going to go too crazy because you can go real crazy with it. I'm going to keep it real subtle, and I'm going to do that throughout the entire model. I want to go ahead and just like take my time and like properly paint the pieces before we assemble the rear of the ship. And once that's in place, we're going to be ready for next episode, and that's going to be to putty and assemble. And we're halfway there. I'm really super excited about it, so let's go ahead and start painting. I'm gonna go grab my cardboard thing that I paint on. I will be right back. Alright, so I have got my little cardboard thing here. I'm waiting. Amazon's been a little slow, which is weird because Amazon's literally headquartered here in Seattle, so it shouldn't be slow. But anyway, Amazon's a little slow getting my pad, my painting pad. I got one of those, what are they called? A self-healing hobby sewing pad. Just something that I can mess up and I don't have to like think about. I did mess up my black pad that had the light around it, and I thought about that. I'm like, that was really reckless, Jordan. So we got that, and then we're gonna start with our tester's gray, and this is just a standard the tester's gray, like it's just gray. Nothing special about it. I have my nice brush here, busting out the nice stuff. And we are going to start, is it inside and outside? Yes, it is. So we're going to start here. And we're just going to apply our gray. And then any over painting we can cover up with the silver. The silver that I have is a really nice silver from Testers. I know Testers isn't the greatest paint in the world, y'all. When I started doing this, I started building my models based on what I remember from a kid. And back in the 90s when I was doing this, basically there was Testers. And so when I went to the store to go get my stuff, I just went immediately to the Testers. Maybe got a little overwhelmed by all the different paint companies and, you know, Tamiya and Mr. Color and Army Painter. And, you know, Army Painter has been the savior for me and my paintbrush, airbrush. They have, like, I've been really struggling with getting my airbrush to properly flow and, you know, mix properly. I don't know if it's the airbrush. It could be, you know, very well could be. You know, it's only like a $40 airbrush, so it's not like anything crazy. Eventually over time I'll replace it, but, you know, not a priority right now. But I was just really struggling with getting the paint to flow. And so I was using a combination of a flow improver from Vallejo and the airbrush thinner from Vallejo, and it was working. But I was painting a model recently, and it's going to be an upcoming series a little on down the line. And the model was molded in a semi-transparent white plastic. And it felt very old school. The quality of the model itself felt very old school. There wasn't a whole lot of cleanup that needed to be done. I was really impressed with the overall quality of the model. But the plastic itself was meant to be lit. Now, we're not lighting that model. And so, because it was intended to be lit, one of the things that it did was, like, when I was trying to apply the base gray coat to the model, it wouldn't hold. It was just like sliding off. And so I had to get a primer. And I picked up a primer, an airbrush primer, not knowing any better. I know. There are some out here like, you got an airbrush primer. Yes, I did. And that was just a horrible idea. I was talking to the guys at the hobby shop, and they're kind of making fun of me a little bit. Because, yeah, it just did not... It gummed up my... I'm still, like, dealing... Like, my airbrush currently right now is sitting in a bath of airbrush thinner. Some of the airlines got caked up with the thinner. And it just... Oh, man. It was rough. Rough. I was not happy at all. But, you know, I mean, that's the learning curve, right? Like, we learn why we don't do certain things and why we do them a certain way. And so I learned, basically any time that I'm going to be using a primer, because you don't always need it. Some of the models that are molded in the clear plastic are meant to be lit. And what's interesting about the Polar Lights models, like this one, it's not molded in that. It was just they give you really nice, already pre-colored, basically really nice pre-colored clear parts is the difference between a Polar Lights model and an AMT model, now that I've worked on a few of them. So yeah, it's kind of interesting. So the model that I'm working on is meant to be pre-lit, and so it's just clear. And so, like I said, now just pick up a primer in a can take it outside and just spray it there. That's what's going to be the plan going forward for stuff like that. But, once again, the learning curve. Learning how to use the primer was pretty cool. I mean, that was like a excellent process, but, in the end result, it was worth it. But, it's still, like, there was parts that I'm still kind of, like, regretting. Regrets were had, so to say. And the main regret is the fact that the airbrush is kind of gummed up. I can't get it to flow properly, and so, like I said, I just got it sitting in a bath of airbrush thinner right now. And then to finish another thought, Army Painter, how they saved me and their chemicals for airbrushes. They have a combination flow improver, which is basically like, if you're not familiar, flow improver versus thinner. Thinner just thins down the paint, gets it to the point where basically when you're airbrushing, you want it to be the consistency of water, basically. And so that's what the thinner does. And then flow improver would be like soap in a way. Like it lubricates it so that it gets through the airbrush real nice. And getting the ratio of the two of those together was very difficult. I had a really tough time with that whole process, and they make a combo. And it was like when I got that, it was like a life changer. Like my airbrush still works, but it just doesn't work as well as it used to. So it's a little bit disappointing, but it is what it is. But I'm hoping that the soaking in the airbrush thinner will help the process. Basically, what wound up happening was the airlines at the front where the air comes out of the airbrush got all jammed up during the whole process, and so wound up like I kept, as I was like cleaning, I didn't have the proper cleaning kit. Like I said, learning curves, my friends, learning curves. I didn't have the proper cleaning kit for the airbrush, and so in the process of using the little pokers and stuff that came with the airbrush, I was just jamming the primer just deeper into the model. Felt pretty foolish. I was painting last night, and I'm just like, bruh. The model I'm currently painting right now, no spoilers, but the model that I'm currently painting right now is part of the next phase of our models. Like I said, as my skill goes up, the difficulty of the models is going to go up, and this model is definitely like part of the previous generation. It's kind of nice coming back to it, because I can tell you painting that model has been a PIA, also known as a pain in the ass. Absolute pain in the ass. Learned a lot, but it has just been a nightmare. I am so glad the painting phase is almost base coat phase is almost over with. Without giving away too much. And that series will be an interesting one. I'm going to use it, as you guys have seen this week, as I wait for models to arrive. Sometimes, like Fan Home, they're just going to be slow. It sucks. Sucks for me. I understand from their point of view. I got to be real. Like, I really understand from their point of view. It's really difficult for them. It's really difficult for them to, they're a small operation. And, it's really difficult for them to, like, get all this stuff done. And so they're a little bit behind. And so I'm choosing to build a couple models that are themed. So, we have I got a couple temporary solutions, and one of them is a model to replace the Enterprise's slot when it needs to be. You heard it here, folks. And so it's a bigger model. It's in the next class and the next phase up, the next skill level. And yeah, it's gonna be a challenge for sure. And it has been a challenge. Like, it's been gratifying to get to where it's at now, finally. I've been working on it, like, almost every night for over a week. Paint takes time. Just takes time. To do paint right, it takes time. Many, many coats are needed, especially with the paint that I'm using. It's very slight. The grays that I'm using are very light as well. So... just gonna set that right there. I don't know where to put it. I don't know what to do with my hands. Okay, so now let's go ahead and get to some detail work here on this model, on the main parts. And here, what we're gonna do, similar, we're just gonna do gray here at the ends. Now I'm gonna just do a little bit of gray here. I'm gonna do gray on these raised surfaces right here. I'm gonna do gray on these raised surfaces there. Do gray on just the tops of the ends here, and then on the barrels. So you may have heard my kitten. She's curious about what is going on. She's like, "What's that smell, bro?" That probably why my brain cells did develop so well as a kid. Sitting too much time in front of these models. I have made a switch over to a new glue. We will see that in the next episode. At the suggestion of one of our viewers. I have yet to try it. I'm excited to do so. Anything to make the gluing process better. I picked up the Tamiya Extra Thin. It's got a tiny little brush on it as well, and it's a quick set. So I'm really excited about that. I can tell you that. The little brush, I think, is going to be a game changer for us. And a little bit more paint on that first one there. Okay, that. Concentrating real hard. That turned out okay. A little cleanup work will be needed around the edges. That was a aggressive start to that one there. Try not to paint outside the lines too much here. Oof. Yeah, that's good. The beauty is we can always clean all this up. I will. Oh, this model will look good. I'm going to finish up the other wing. I will be right back. Okay, so we got the highlights done on the first set of wings, and what we didn't see last time was the top wing. Here, gonna keep this one pretty simple. We're just gonna go ahead and toss a little bit of paint here onto the top. To our little nubby pieces here, and I'm just gonna go ahead and paint these gray at the very top. And this is the top wing. Now we're not going to do much with this one here. We're just going to apply the decal later on. There we go. And this will get a base coat color at the end of the process here. Okay, so now what we're going to do is I'm going to pick a couple of panels here. And I think we're going to go here and here. And then here and here. We're just going to do these 4. Then on the bottom, we'll do this panel and that panel and leave the rest. So we'll start at the bottom. That turned out pretty good. Yeah, like I said, any little mistakes that we make, we'll try to cover up with the base coat. Okay, that one's taken care of. Actually, turned out pretty good. The color juxtaposition is pretty good. Yeah, this is gonna be a big, big putty point. And I think we'll follow this panel all along down the side, seeing that it goes down there. But before we do that, let's go ahead and move over to this one. A little bit of glue right here. It's interesting, after Christmas, the hobby shop was out of everything for a little while. So I had to like wait to get proper glue, and I didn't want to wait through Amazon. Thankfully my hobby shop is nice and busy. You know, they're a bit of a dying breed these days, unfortunately. little races with RC cars, which is pretty cool. I was watching the other night. And made a little goof right there. A little happy accident. So we're going to go ahead and follow it. Being that it follows in the same hull panel line, we'll go ahead and roll with it. Don't know why, because we're about to putty right there. That was reckless, but sure. Alright, that turned out pretty good. Let's go ahead and go over to the other side. Got a little messy right there. So I'll clean up my fingernail. Yeah, I need to base coat that bad boy. Real close and slow. There we are. Turn this side. So, we need to do a little bit of cleanup here. Oh god. Do a little bit of cleanup work around here when we get back to the base coat. So, highlighting is done there. Let's go ahead and move on. I'm going to do one side on camera and then we'll come back to the other side. I'm going to pick out just a couple of panels here. I'm going to go ahead and do these two little dashes here. That top dash here. These couple of dashes here, we're going to paint this one the gray, and then we're going to do this panel, these two, and those two. We'll start at the bottom down here, load up with some paint, and then brush off. Having enough paint on your brush. Oh man. I was about to say having enough paint on your brush seems to be an equation where I'm not going to make too many mistakes. So I need to remember that. Here first, I guess. Oh man, that's a big goof. Turn it towards me a little bit. Sorry, folks. Currently, my hand is numb. The painting hand. It's awful. Carpal tunnel is a horrible, horrible thing. It was going so good until it didn't. Okay, that one turned out good. That one turned out messy. And then one more here on the side. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and match up the other side, and we'll be right back. Okay, so we are done with the gray here. Got my brush all cleaned up. Let's go ahead and start with the one little bit of yellow that we have to do. I'm going to grab my finer point brush. And just a standard yellow. And it's going to be the two little lights that are at the very front of the ship. Nice bright color. And we are going to go boom, 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 boom. So, load up my brush. And then unload my brush. And let's see if I can't just get some dots here. Okay, try not too bad. A little brighter there. That works. Unload everything but the point. There we go. Boom. Boom. Yellow's done. We'll be right back. Okay, so let's go ahead and move on to our black here. I'm going to go ahead and slide one of our little pieces out of the way here. I chose not to highlight much underneath the bottom of the model, just for the sake of not wanting to like paint in a model that we're just not painting an area where we're just not going to see it. Alright, so let's go into our black. We're almost done for today. It's exciting. There we are. And what we're going to do is we're just going to go paint black on these top pieces. I'm going to try to avoid it in the middles and the ends because that's where I'm going to put my silver. I say that and then I immediately paint the end black on that one. That works nice. Must remember. On tubular things. Totally tubular, bruh. Like it. That works nice. Very nice. Almost tedious. Okay. Okay, Sasha. I actually had a boss way back in the day. Looked just like Sosa. Talked just like so. So kind of crazy. Really good guy. Put me on the path where I am right now. We're going to do each one of the dubs here at the end. Silver. I'll turn that over. Yeah, like I said, we're not going to be painting a whole lot here. It's a fairly basic model when it comes to the paint scheme, which is nice. And this little technique is pretty cool. I don't know why I hadn't thought about that before. Because I've painted more than a few tubular things lately. And of course, after we separate from the sprues in the next episode, we'll do extra paint work where we need to. Okay, we're going to paint black on the base here. Cover any gray overdove, over gray over paints. Yeah, this black paint's going on real nice. I just worry about black paint and how well it's going to cover, but this is working really, really nice. This is going on super nice. Ooh, a little too aggressive there. Yeah, no, it's going on real nice. Real pleased. Gray took a minute. I thought about trying to throw our what do you call it? Putty work into this episode, but that definitely glad that's not happening. That would have been a very long episode. Okay. So that's those taken care of. Any other pieces that we're going to be painting black? I think that's that. We'll be back with our silver. Alright, so we got our silver here, and I love this silver. It just coats and covers so incredibly well. So, yeah. A little technique that we learned in the last one. Yeah, this stuff goes on so nice. Oh, I love it. I know Testers isn't the best paint in the world, but a couple of these colors just cover so well. Silver and the black, just boom. Looks so good. Looks so good. Missed a step over there. I'm on the body with the gray. We'll catch that. We'll off camera that. Getting a little long today. But that's okay. Painting is always fun. Definitely have probably done some editing down. I like that look. Should we get the fronts here? And the sides. Okay. So now, the little detail parts. And the struts coming up. that should be about it for the silver today, and we're getting close to the end, my friends. Thanks for joining me for this little ride today as we get back into building. I think it's going to wind up being a pretty cool model. Come back and do a little bit of clean up with the black there. Don't be afraid to on the outside of the sprues there. Ready? Let's try to be a little bit more clean. Much better. Take our time. Don't rush. Okay. This turned out okay. I was rushing in the beginning and regrets our head. Turn that over. Catch the back sides here. And we just have a little bit of the turret pieces here at the end of the wings. Yeah, it's a long one, my friends. I appreciate you guys sticking around if you're here till the end. And for those of you that are still here and are watching from the beginning, you are the true heroes. Silver here at the end. Missed that entire piece right there. Okay, those are all painted up. Now let's catch the end of our wing pieces here. And I think, my friends, we have made it to the end of our episode. And as we finish up here, if you guys have any questions, comments, tips, tricks, please leave them down below. If you'd like to support the channel, please like and subscribe. Oh, look at that. Yeah, that's turned out really good. Yeah. That silver just goes on real nice. And I think we're going to leave. I'm finishing up here and I'm realizing I think we should leave all of our base coat until we're actually using the base coat. So let's go ahead and finish that. And the last little bit we have the end here. I just want to say thank you. I know there's a million things y'all could have been doing today, but instead you spent a couple of minutes watching me build a model, which in my opinion is pretty cool and much appreciated. And there we go. And as we put some points at the end of a weapon here, just want to say thank you again. And until we see each other again, my friends, just remember that the Force will be with you always.